There are places in the universe so extreme, so violently mysterious, that our current science breaks down at their very edges. These are the black holes, collapsed stars whose gravity is so intense that not even light can escape. They are not just cosmic curiosities. They are cracks in the fabric of reality, where time distorts, space folds, and information vanishes. Or does it? Stephen Hawking once shocked the world by suggesting that black holes slowly evaporate, leaking radiation, and possibly information, back into the universe. But that simple idea sparked one of the deepest paradoxes in modern physics. If information goes in but never comes out, is reality itself being destroyed? Now add one more layer to the mystery. What happens to consciousness at the edge of a black hole? Could awareness, identity, memory, even the soul be swallowed and lost forever? Or does some essence survive? Today we dive into one of the most thrilling frontiers of science and spirituality, to ask, can consciousness survive the collapse of space and time itself? To understand the question, we first need to understand the mystery. A black hole forms when a massive star exhausts its nuclear fuel and collapses under its own gravity. If the remaining mass is dense enough, it compresses into a point of infinite density called a singularity, a place where gravity becomes so extreme that the known laws of physics no longer apply. Surrounding this point is the event horizon, the boundary beyond which nothing can escape, not even light. From the outside, it looks like a sphere of perfect darkness. But from the inside, we don't know. Time slows down, space stretches, and everything we thought was solid begins to dissolve. If a conscious observer were to fall in, what would they experience? Would they be crushed instantly? Or would their subjective sense of time stretch infinitely as they approached the singularity, frozen in a final moment of perception? These aren't just theoretical questions. They strike at the limits of what it means to exist. For decades, physicists believed that black holes were eternal, swallowing everything and giving nothing back. But in the 1970s, Stephen Hawking changed that. Using quantum field theory and curved space-time, he showed that black holes emit radiation due to quantum fluctuations near the event horizon. This emission, now called Hawking radiation, means black holes slowly lose mass and eventually evaporate over vast timescales. But this raised a terrifying problem. If a black hole disappears, and the information about everything it swallowed is gone with it, then the most basic principle of quantum mechanics is violated, the principle that information cannot be destroyed. This became known as the black hole information paradox. And here's where consciousness enters the picture. If information is fundamental, if even physical reality is built on informational patterns, then what happens to the information of your consciousness if it were drawn into a black hole? Does it vanish forever? Or is it somehow preserved in ways we don't yet understand? To entertain the idea that consciousness might survive a black hole, we have to ask a radical question. What is consciousness really? Is it just a process in the brain? Or is it something more fundamental, a form of information or even a field, woven into the very fabric of the cosmos? Some scientists and philosophers like Giulio Tononi with integrated information theory, DIT, or David Chalmers with his hard problem, suggest that consciousness may be irreducible, not just an emergent property, but something built into the structure of reality. Others, like Roger Penrose, have argued that consciousness might be linked to quantum processes inside the brain, fragile but fundamental events that are somehow tied to the informational substrate of the universe. If any of these theories are even partially true, then it opens the door to an astonishing possibility. Consciousness is not just a brain-bound experience, it is a pattern of information. And patterns, as Hawking himself eventually acknowledged, might not be destroyed by black holes after all. In recent years, the black hole paradox has only deepened. To preserve the laws of physics, some theorists have proposed extreme ideas, like the firewall hypothesis, which suggests that the event horizon might not be smooth at all, but a wall of high-energy radiation that incinerates anything that tries to pass. Others suggest that black holes are holograms, that all the information inside is somehow encoded on the surface like a cosmic hard drive. This is the basis of the holographic principle, a universe where three-dimensional space emerges from two-dimensional information. In this strange new vision, the inside of a black hole may not even exist in the way we think. It might be an illusion created by information flowing across the boundary. What does this mean for consciousness? If your awareness could be encoded as a pattern, a wave, a field, a set of relations, could it be preserved at the boundary rather than destroyed in the center? Could the edge of the black hole be a kind of cosmic mirror, reflecting the structure of awareness itself? Let's go further. Some spiritual traditions describe awakening as a kind of ego death, a collapse of the sense of separate self into a larger, timeless awareness. In Buddhism, nirvana is not a place, but the extinguishing of illusion. In Hindu thought, moksha is liberation from the cycle of rebirth, the merging of the self into the absolute. Could the singularity, the center of the black hole where space and time cease, be a kind of metaphor for spiritual dissolution? A collapse not into nothingness, but into something beyond form, beyond space, beyond thought? The mystic speaks of the death of the ego, the physicist of the collapse of space-time. Both describe a kind of boundary crossing, an encounter with the unthinkable. Maybe consciousness doesn't survive the black hole as a personality or memory. But maybe what survives, or is revealed, is what was always already there, a field of awareness beyond the boundaries of time, identity, and space. Here's the most unsettling question of all. Can the universe forget? If black holes can erase information, then perhaps not just stars and atoms, but memories, experiences, even love, could be swallowed and lost. But most physicists now believe this cannot happen, whether through Hawking radiation, holographic encoding, or as yet unknown physics, information is preserved. It may be scrambled, transformed, hidden, but not destroyed. This offers a kind of strange hope. If you too are made of information, if your thoughts and dreams are part of the universe's grand unfolding, then perhaps nothing is truly lost. Not even at the edge of a black hole. Perhaps consciousness too is preserved in pattern, waiting to be reassembled, reawakened, rewritten in some other form, some other world, some other universe. Perhaps nothing is ever wasted in a cosmos that remembers everything. Imagine falling into a black hole. At first you drift, the pull becomes stronger, time stretches, your heartbeat slows, you cross the event horizon, and to an outside observer, you appear frozen there forever. But to you, time moves forward, you fall deeper. And then, what? Perhaps you dissolve. Perhaps you merge with the singularity. Or perhaps something else happens, something no theory can yet describe. The end of form, the beginning of insight, the moment when consciousness sheds its illusion of separateness and awakens not as a self, but as the field itself. Timeless, spaceless, infinite. Not erased, but transformed. Not annihilated, but reborn as the cosmos itself. The black hole is not just out there in the night sky. It is within, in every place where your mind cannot go, where your knowledge ends, where your ego collapses. It is the edge of science and the threshold of self. Can consciousness survive a black hole? No one knows. But maybe the real question is, can we survive our own limits? Can we awaken before we fall? Or maybe we're already falling. Not into darkness, but into the most radiant truth of all, that we were never separate from the universe to begin with. That awareness is not what disappears into the black hole. Awareness is the horizon itself. If that stirred something in you, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring the mysteries of physics, mind, and the nature of reality, subscribe. Because reality doesn't end at the event horizon. It begins there.